This is a very brief introduction to AutoDesk's free downloadable app, 123D Design. And you can get it on this site, and we're going to take a look at it. This is your interface. I really haven't spent a lot of time with it because it's very, very intuitive, childlike intuitive. So I'm just going to do some of the basic things, and I invite you to download this and give it a try. So I'm going to use the primitive tool and put in a box. And if I want to do another primitive, or if I want to copy this, I can Control C, Control V, and then you'll see it's giving me a little tool to move my new copy, which I think is kind of cool. I'm right-clicking to orbit, and when I grab an object, I get a sort of pop-up settings or a pop-up menu about things I can do to this particular cube. So I'm going to move it, and if I get the same kind of XYZ widget. If you grab an arrow, you can move in that axis, that respective axis. If you grab the plane, you can kind of move it in that, in this case, the XY plane. So I'm going to slide this guy over and actually put it in the same space as the original cube. And now I'm going to go over to the Combine tool in the upper menu. The Combine, this is kind of a Boolean operation, which you can invert. So I'm going to pick the tool, pick my first object, and then I'm going to go to this little settings flyout, click it, and say subtract. And then click the second object, and now it's sort of thinking, and then just click into space to cancel the command. So it's done a Boolean subtraction, which is pretty good. Now, some of you are going to recognize the interface has got quite a bit of resemblance to AutoCAD as well as Revit. It's got a view cube, which I can sort of dial myself around the object. I can even set an option to go into perspective if I want to. I kind of prefer the orthographic projection, because then when I want to do tugging and pulling of objects in a specific direction, it's a little bit easier to do when I'm navigating around. Each shape is actually like the massing solids that one would find in Revit. It's a functional object that if you click, if you kind of hover and click into the object, you can select intersections or planes and do something with them. So in this case, I'll select this plane, go down to my my tool menu, and you see that here's a tool that says tweak. So if I click this guy, I can really do some pretty cool manipulation of this shape. If I try it again, sometimes you have to click twice to get that setting, and I do press pull, I'm kind of extruding from that shape. And another cool thing is that if you select an edge, one of the functions you can do is create a fillet, which I think is pretty great, actually. And there are other primitives within the basic toolkit, but you can do a lot with these. There's also line drawing, and there are lofting and revolving tools. And the pattern tool, I haven't quite gotten used to. I don't quite understand what it's supposed to be doing. There's something like an alignment tool. If I bring in another cube, and called snap. If I click snap, click this face, and kind of come down to this cube, it's going to kind of attach those two guys on their faces, which is a little bit funky, but it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a weird three-dimensional alignment tool. And then I have not experimented with outputting, but I will see if I can save this as something. And it looks like it's proprietary format. What I'd really like to do is output this to an STL and 3D print it. So let's try export. Yep, exports to an STL. So that's pretty cool for anybody who has access to a MakerBot or a 3D printer, because you can take your thing and make it into something physical. So that's Autodesk 123D Design. Have fun.